Hey, what's up, guys? This is Jay and Cody. I'm kind of doing this by myself. We had some issues lining some shit up, so you just get me. But anyway, I did want to take some time. What's really big right now is the Wikileaks stuff that just came out. A lot of it was about how we're being spied on. Um, you know, we need to be careful about, our microphones, our cameras can turn on, your TV, your Alexa, all these things can spy on you and see what you're doing. And it's kind of become, I don't know, there's all this outrage, these people freaking out, whatever. And, I guess that was the thing I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit. Um, I don't know if it's that bad. Like, hear me out. We had these issues with like the Patriot Act. That was a big deal. And it got enacted. I mean, we, uh, obviously did enact it and pulled back on it, went back and forth. There was a slippery slope conversation. There was all this stuff going on. When you're really scared, when you're so fearful of like terrorists or whatever, you're willing to give up whatever. But when it's peacetime, you're not really willing to do that. Um, which I mean, I guess technically we honestly haven't had peace in forever since like Bill Clinton was getting blowjobs. But here we are, learning that all this technology might be working against us. Maybe. I don't know. And I guess my take on the whole thing is, if it really is that bad, what are the cases that they're actually using this stuff? I mean, if it is, in fact, the CIA or whoever is watching us, listening to us, I mean, most of the shit that I say that I don't want, that I wouldn't want, like, the CIA to, have or release or whatever, is shit I fucking say for my show. So that can't be. Obviously, I'm not, holding anything in. I don't have any, like, crazy Donald Sterling conversations with my family. Um, I used to, before I had a kid, I used to smoke weed and whatever, and, you don't just grow that, you buy that from somewhere. And there was 100% millions of texts. Well, maybe not millions, but hundreds at least. Texts of me texting my dealer, or people, asking like, hey, you underscore sack, whatever. Rarely ever did I ever use like a code. I mean, this has got to be ridiculous. But no one I knew in those rings has ever gotten busted. What happens is they get pulled over. They're stupid and they're smoking, and boom, they get in trouble. But I've never had like some people pounding out my door. All right, we saw, we read your phone and we know that you have weed and whatever, because they don't give a shit. And that's the thing, like, there's that conversation that you have to have with yourself. Like, am I, and trust me, I hate this. I hate when they say, well, if you're not doing anything, then why are you worried? No, that's stupid. We shouldn't have to, I don't know, have some sort of big brother watching us, but at the other hand, I don't really think they are, just because they're collecting this data doesn't mean they're actually listening to it, whatever, watching it. I mean, I bet you, if you're like a normal person, if anyone looks at your phone, they look through the camera, they're gonna either see dark because it's in your pocket, your purse, or whatever. They're gonna see your stupid face looking at them. Um, and that's really about it. Or just like your ceiling because you have it left down on on a table or whatever. It's not really about that. Not to mention this. Why has there not been any situations where there's been, a murder that people have been like, oh, we don't know any of the details. We got this information. We got to, uh, we now have the authority to backtrack everything that everyone's phone was doing when they were in that room. We've, got a warrant for that. No, that's never happened. I've never heard of a case where that's happened. So, and I would think like a murder, um, child abduction, all these big things. If it was so easy just to pull your information out, and they knew exactly, who was involved in what, and down to the fact that like if you were buying a sack of weed, or if you were whatever, going out drinking every day, whatever, I don't know. I feel like they would use these in these situations that they just don't use them in. Again, I don't know. I mean, I'm probably being naive to a point, and I admit that, because there are things that them spying on us, or at least spying on like our activity, has really helped. I mean, there's all these child porn rings that I just heard about today, on Jim and Sam. Someone was talking about, Jim was saying that they busted the biggest child porn ring ever. It was like 150,000 people or whatever. It's insane. But they did it through this technology. In that, yeah, I think that's worth it. you know? Even if you're buying Coke or whatever, is that really worth it? I don't think so. I really don't, but again, I might be naive, but I just don't feel like you have the manpower to really spy on everyone in the United States, let alone the world. And I mean, we do have a lot of people around the world that we're more concerned about, I think, I would hope, than just us. It's one of those things. Like, again, I'm my first reaction to it all is I don't think it's that bad. And some of this stuff we've known about. A lot of like my tech friends and whatever, they have put in like and girls, a lot of girls I know will put a piece of electrical tape across their camera. And I've heard stories where people will meet someone like on Facebook or something like that, and it'll escalate quickly to the point where like the chick is having the guy jerk off that he just met online, and before you know it, there's a video of himself he sees of him jerking off, and like I know that happens, and that's really easy, I believe. Like, it's just this program that anyone can get, and they try to blackmail you and whatever. Definitely heard the stories of that. Uh, Again, like that's shitty. That would probably be the shittiest thing that would happen to you, dealing with any of this technology that's in our phone. But and to be honest, you're a fool if you think the things that you're doing, that they're really watching, and probably the most scary things, are the shit you've known they've been watching you for. The shit you're looking up online is probably the worst. Having a Facebook, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I just signed up for Messenger, and I believe Messenger made me allow the access from Facebook to my camera, to my microphone, all that stuff. Like, I knew right then, I'm giving this up. I'm not a big fan of Facebook Messenger, by the way, but those are the kind of things like we got to think about. Like, if you really don't want that to be an issue in your life, well, no one told you to sign up for Facebook. No one told you to sign up for Instagram. Any of that bullshit. Yet we do. I mean, and I mean that's just, I guess, a fair trade. I don't know. And I too, like I used to work at Walmart. I worked at Walmart for a long, long time. And one thing that I learned, the people that are paying a lot of money, just an insane amount of money, to gather your information, and to have that information, I should say, is corporations. It's people wanting to sell you shit. It's not really people giving a shit what you're doing, as much as how you're doing it, what you're doing it with, if there's a better version of it they can sell to you, and if you need, your preferences on a Ford or a Toyota. That is more what they're doing. Do I think that there's going to be a situation where this comes out and like someone's like, oh, holy fuck, they'll bust somebody on something really, really trivial, and they'll have to prove that they got him by spying on their phone or something. I don't know, maybe they'll catch like Tom Hanks saying nigger or something and that'll come out like, oh, we got this from his phone. I don't know, I'm not saying like he did or whatever, but something like that'll come out, and then it'll really be known that they are listening, that people are listening. Not they. I hate fucking they, because I don't think that they are. I mean, to an extent, I should say. I mean, if they were really listening, they would stop a lot of bullshit that they don't. Yeah, not to mention, it, at least on my end of it, at least from what I'm understanding, people don't think that the government likes Donald Trump very much. I would think they would really release some stuff of him saying something or something. If they had that much access and they could use it just like that, I feel like that's what they would do with it. They would leak stuff out, Speaking, though, of Donald Trump and the WikiLeaks stuff, I find it funny that there's a number of people, Republicans, namely conservatives, who are coming out now and saying, I don't know about this WikiLeaks stuff. It's pretty bad. People are getting, there's undercover agents that could be killed by this and blah, blah, blah. And you know what I say? Fuck yeah, that's what I said way back when they were fucking releasing all this shit on Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party. But none of you really seem to care then. No, you only care now that it's possibly affecting your guy, or it doesn't affect anything at all. It doesn't help you at all. But now you're starting to have that concern of, well, how long can we let this happen? Well, I don't know. You're the one that opened the floodgate. You're the one that said, oh, it's okay. We're going to use this information to predict who our president is, how our country is going to be ran. That's what we're going to do with this information. You completely validated it, and now you act like, oh, this can actually hurt people. Well, fuck yeah, it can. And I'm tired of that. Like, I'm sick of that kind of, the same ones who are ranting and raving about, like, oh, this new healthcare plan, they're going to take away my healthcare, blah, blah, blah. That's becoming a bigger chant than they're going to take away our guns. Well, no, fuck they are. You should have fucking realized that. When you were sitting there saying, repeal, replace, you didn't fucking think about who the fuck is writing these bills. Who's setting up our healthcare plan. It's the same guy that has been in a Twitter with Arnold Schwarzenegger in the last 2 months. That's what we got. That's who's deciding the healthcare for our elderly and our children and everything like that. But, hey, as long as there's an R next to his name, who cares, right? And that's it for me. Like, as far as the soapbox bullshit, but it has been bugging me, especially because the WikiLeaks thing has been big. The GOP healthcare plan has been really big, and a lot of people are clamoring up against it. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there's like a crap ton of respected agencies that are against this. Like, the AARP is against it. The nurses, something against it. All these fucking healthcare people are against this GOP plan. It's just kind of interesting to see that that's where this is at. By the way, apologies for the train. I'm actually in a house near the train station. We were planning to do a show today, and schedules didn't really work out. I think we had a couple options, and they just didn't really work out. Someone decided to go get his nails done instead of stay around. I'm kidding. Well, I'm not kidding, but I'm acting like a dick about it, and that I'm kidding about. But no, so that's why I decided to do this, and I'm like, well, I got a free second. It's, 1 in the morning, and why not? But as far as the other thing goes, yeah, it's crazy, like, how many groups and even Democrat or even Republicans against this fucking plan. And everything I've read, I mean, like, I've looked into it, and big surprise, tax credits and you know, tax cuts and incentives and subsidies for the super rich. The uninsured and the poor are pretty fucked. I mean, but that's like, I would be surprised if it was anything different than that. And I think any of you who thought that it would be different, that you honestly thought it'd be better than Obama's plan, you you have to be true to yourself and know this is what we were gonna get. I mean, come on. When has a Republican president ever, ever done anything, especially taken a social service program and made it better than what a Democratic president can do? I mean, maybe like a long time ago, like decades ago, whatever. You know, you're sure there's probably something. You know, the fire. You know, the fire. I forgot the report, like what it's actually called. But anyway, to have firefighters and whatever. I'm sure that was like set up by a Republican or whatever. I don't know. But I'm just speaking to the point that we know and the things that we're aware of in our society. No, Trump was never gonna make a better plan than Obama, and Obama was fucking handcuffed through most of it. He could have done even better. And I think it's kind of bullshit because Trump is sitting there. He even said, quote, "If this fails, I'm blaming the Democrats." And it's like, no, buddy. For one, you would have that coming to you if that was the case. But I don't even think that is the case. Your own side's against you. And you wrote a shitty plan. You tried to make something better. Without knowing how. You know, like, I don't go to like Gordon Ramsay and I don't say, "Hey, your beef Wellington's a piece of shit. I could do better," without knowing how to make it, what's in it, or how to do it. Because that's basically what Trump did. He went to Obama, said your healthcare plan is bullshit, but he had no fucking clue about any of it or how it was done, what really it incurred, nothing. And so by the time he was done with his shitty little, like, a version of, like, my amateur beef Wellington, probably, you know, nuked in the microwave, he comes back with something that is pretty much Obamacare light. And yes, I hate to say it, I mean, because that's already been dubbed that, but that's what it is. It's Obamacare for rich people. Which, great. That's exactly what we need. You know, I had a really good conversation with say a new friend of mine. And we were talking about, he's not from here, he's from the West Coast. And he was saying, why is it the Midwest, why are they so against unions? Why are they so against all of these things that help them? And I said, you know, that's been the question since I think you had, some progressive people living in these areas start to really wonder. And, you know, you have that give and take. When you're in when you're in the Midwest, you do have, like, more of a value system set up. You don't, for the most part, even if you're in a bigger city, like a Kansas City or a Wichita or whatever, there's still, like, a pretty strong community amongst everyone there. I'm not saying completely, and as things get bigger, that's going away, but there is still somewhat of a community, in the sense that, like, I've never been walking around downtown Kansas City or Wichita and thought, like, ah, shit, I might get stabbed or robbed or any of those things. It's never even crossed my mind, ever. And so you kind of think, like, well, that's just kind of the payoff. And it kind of is, to be honest, but it's no answer. It's no answer at all to the question. Why do they vote against, their best interests? And I think a good chunk of it, honestly, is, and I don't know how this came to be, but the conservative Republican face has kind of been like religious and morally superior, as where the Democrat liberal has kind of been known as, the ones who will say, you know, don't say Muslim terrorists, free, you should have a freedom of religion and they should all be equal, um, all that stuff. And so, living in the Bible Belt, they're going to vote for who they honestly think God would vote for, who they think is most righteous. It makes no sense and it's completely stupid because when you break it down, I think Jesus would have been a Democrat or a liberal for sure. Maybe not a Democrat. Maybe he'd be against the whole system. But, yeah, he'd probably be against the whole system. But he would at least be a liberal for sure. But that's not the God that I guess they portray in their head. I don't know. That's the only answer living here for so long that I've come up with. It has to be something to do with religion, and it's weird. Because everyone I know, and Republicans, conservatives included, there's only a couple I know that are actually racist, bigot assholes. And that's it. The rest of them are, they're all for helping people. They're all for, the lower and the middle class doing better. But that's not how they vote. And there's just got to be something to do with that. To be honest, like I said, that's the best I've come up with. If you guys have any other ideas, text, or tweet, sorry, just text. I'll give my phone number out to everyone. Tweet us, tweet the show. If you don't know, it's JC Show VIP. That's mine. I don't know what Cody's is, to be honest. And we are going to start up a Twitter for our show. Another cool thing I wanted to bring up, we will be going on, we will be on SoundCloud soon. And there was another affiliation that we're trying to get set up through. But we're expanding. It's crazy. And I feel bad. I honestly do, because our software and all of our stuff is getting bigger. We're getting more views. We're getting a lot more attention. And in this last 3 weeks or so, we have shit the bed as far as like putting out content. We've been workhorses for the last probably year, 6 months or so, of just like 3 to 4 shows a week. We're on it all the time. Just nothing but content. I had so much content backed up before that I was like releasing everything. I was releasing a new episode every day for like a week and a half because I literally just had so much shit. And now we're down to like maybe a show a week. And I feel kind of bad because I want to, bring as much to this as possible. Even if it's just a half hour or an hour or whatever, not everybody, has that much time to sit down. And we don't ever try to like do anything over than an hour and a half. Some of our real early shows, I think like our first year, we would do like 2.5 hour, 3 hour shows. And we'd get like people listening to like the first half hour, and they'd drop out. Because who the fuck has 3 hours to listen? But yeah, so that's one thing we got to work on. We got to figure this out. Just to, to find a fucking half hour, every other day shouldn't be a big problem, but apparently it is. Speaking of that half hour, I'm pretty much, I'm at 25 minutes or whatever. But I did just want to come down, do a small little segment, talk about the WikiLeaks thing, talk about the GOP plan. If you guys have anything to add, tweet me, tweet the show. Let me know what you think. We're gonna do the studio show. It should come out either Saturday night or Sunday night. We haven't completely figured out which day we're going with for sure. But it should be actually a full show. Should be a lot of people there. It'll be fun. We'll talk about more of this kind of stuff. I'm going to kind of base some of what I'm talking about at our studio show with what you guys send me on Twitter and Facebook and whatever and all that good stuff. But anyway, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate you listening to me. Yeah, I'll be addressing you in a couple of days in the studio. Thanks a lot.